the dream.
Wait, you need to say that entirely again because I didn't hit record.
What was the question you were asking?
I said, you tell me what's up.
Well, I am putting the soap dispensers back into the bathroom. Oh, the dreams of entrepreneurship. Oh, the dreams. So I'm literally in a bathroom. Oh, yeah. Now I'm back out. I know it is hilarious what people think I do versus what I really do, which is every job nobody else wants to do. Isn't that funny?
Oh, hell yeah.
So I've got that going for me. What's going on with you, my friend?
I think I'm in the middle of another heat wave or something. It's like 80,
no shit.
86 for the past few days.
Oh, wow. Dang. Well, I don't know if you've heard of this thing called climate change, but it's here. All right. Hey, let me tell you some weird good news over here because, rarely do I have good political news. I just don't. So the head of the virtual school board, this guy named Dr. Robert Franklin, refused to sign the contract with the Catholic Church for their school. That they because he literally is like, it's against the Constitution. I swore an oath to it, so I'm not doing it. Kudos to that man. Because that's pretty big standing up against that big of an entity, even though the people down here are more Southern Baptist than Catholic, but it's pretty impressive. So the second thing that happened, you remember, or some people will remember, months back, we talked about this football coach in Ringling, Oklahoma. And this guy has been at Coons is his name. And people will be familiar with Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. This is Ringling, and it's a circus. So he finally got charges filed against him yesterday. As if my day wasn't complete between somebody standing up for ethics and somebody knocking this guy down a little bit. So some of the stories behind it are that he's got to give up his teaching license and never coach again, which would be ideal. And they knocked the stuff down to a misdemeanor rather than a felony if he would promise that stuff. So we'll see what really comes out, because everybody talks smack about what's going to happen. And then when the actual law kicks in, everyone's like, well, I don't know what happened. Even though he was like alcoholically defiant to everyone about everything. But the problem is his wife was the person you would have had to go through to complain.
What was
and the
he
grade
accused
school
of? Sorry, just to recap, because we talked about this almost a month ago.
Oh, yeah. The story's been going on for a while because I was in on the beginning of it. He literally, as a punishment, made boys do naked up and downs, which are like you stand up, you drop down, you do a push up, you jump back up and all this stuff, naked on AstroTurf, which cut their stuff up. Think about teenage boys, what that would do to your body at that point. Even, and you saw the other one where the boys had to do something like that on AstroTurf and it tore up their hands. Imagine what it does downtown, brother. Imagine what that does to your downtown junk. So on top of it, racial slurs towards people, all this, he's a nut. Obviously, the guy's just a nut. But he has 3 of his kids teaching at the school as well. So getting rid of him is not necessarily solving the problem. But what I have said on any of my other podcasts and stuff is I go, look, this guy started out the season 0-2, meaning he lost the first 2 games. That's how I knew he was going down first. It is sad, but that's the truth. So after me saying all of that, I am thrilled to say that I was evidently wrong. The football coach from Kingfisher, Oklahoma, also had charges filed against him, and he hasn't lost a game. And that happened on the same day. So I am sorry for whoever I said that to. I was wrong. It wasn't just because he lost games. It was because they did what they were supposed to do. Who would have thought? So it gets weirder. So the Kingfisher coach gets charged. He's in trouble. But he also, the family.
One second, Sean. People, Kingfisher is a place in Oklahoma. If anyone's listening in, he's not talking about the beer that we drink here.
Oh, right. And they're an oil town. So it's a pretty wealthy small town. And they love football. You know, I mean, think of how much you love cricket. They love football. And so this guy, the demand of the kid who filed the abuse charges was that the coach be fired. That was it. They wouldn't agree to it. So they went ahead and took him to the Supreme Court, and they had the hearings last week to fire a football coach charged with abuse. Right.
Shouldn't that be straightforward?
Right. And he did interviews. He agreed that he watched these things happen and didn't intervene. So here's where it gets weird. So one of his assistant coaches gets charged with 3 counts, and these are all felonies. He gets charged with 1 felony count. A school board member that the parent came to got charged for not reporting. And get this, the parent of the child who did the lawsuit, they filed charges against that parent for failure to go to the authorities. So he needed to have gone to the police instead of he went to the school board, he went to the principal, he went to all of these people. And I am sure the prosecutor was just trying to make it look fair by doing charges. You know, I don't know how serious his charge, but he got failure to report. But he did report. The reporters didn't report. And if you don't know anything about what's called Title IX, you would never really know how it works. There's no, you know, you can Google it, I suppose, but when your child is being abused, it's pretty hard to try to think rationally. So I'm okay with that guy getting charged if it got everybody else. He's got money. He can afford an attorney. He'll get out of that one. How's that for the biggest turnaround in, 1 week you've ever heard of here?
That's awesome. That's like a lot of good news on the same day, Sean.
The
skeptic in me is waiting for the other shoe to drop where something bites us in the ass.
you and I both know that was a Friday news dump of sorts, but it was good news, so it went out on Tuesday. I am waiting to see what Friday brings, because Friday will be a news dump. So that is, if people sit there and go, God, because I always have people go, why do you do this stuff? And without bumming everybody out like we do every one of our shows, when I was a kid, we had child molester Catholic priests in parishes around us, and not a single adult stepped forward to look out for any of those kids. So when I was an adult, hundreds and hundreds of people had a chance to do something, and they didn't. So I just made a promise to myself, if I was an adult and I was presented with this kind of stuff, that I would actually follow through at all costs, because nothing is free. You choose to take on these enormous entities, there will be blowback. There's a fan club, and then all the other enablers that keep them in their positions so they keep doing this shit are true believers, and they will do harm to you, literal. And I mean this as a warning to anybody who wants to. But then now it's against the law to not report, even though your life is in danger for reporting. It is, woo! So we got that going.
Double-edged sword. No matter what you do, you're still the one who gets.
And both sides are very sharp. But other than that, things are looking up a little bit. And this is just a grain of sand in a pile of sand mixed with dog dew. So tell me what's going on with you. Hey, is cricket still happening?
Oh yeah, this World Cup is like a 30-day thing.
Wow.
So there'll be games like every day till, I guess, sometime in the end of October is the final.
Wow. And so they're out there for that long in this kind of weather with those outfits, which is long pants, what we would call a tennis shirt or a polo or something.
Sean, I'll tell you the most awesome thing. I just pulled it up on my phone to check the schedule. It says that right now the game going on is New Zealand versus Afghanistan. All right.
Oh, wow.
The live update is drinks break.
Thank God, that's awesome. So for people that don't know, so did Pim's Cup come from that, or did it come from the sport polo? Do you know?
Not sure.
It's a nasty ass liquor, and you mix it with soda and some others, and I'm thinking something else, and you do a big slice of English cucumber in it. Like, that's your refreshing snack. So Those folks just couldn't do it right with food,
Yuck.
could they? They just right.
Even you give them alcohol and they're still fucking with it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they can't even do that right. I've got a cucumber, sure would be refreshing. All right, I'm walking over here to see if I have any Pims. I'm not sure. I every once in a while I have some, and people drink it for a little while, then they get bored with it. It's kind of like I would compare it to Campari or Gombari is the proper way to say that. No, I don't see any Pimm's Cupper. I was going to show you some. Back with my background of booze and an advert for Guinness, whether we like it or not. Right? Okay, so I haven't cussed yet, so we should be able to stay on YouTube. What's going?
Hey,
tell people what's going on with that, because I brought it up twice, but we never explained it.
Okay, so YouTube has like weird advertising policies that are defined based on every country a viewer watches this in. So you might be like allowed to advertise something only in the United States, but it'll get flagged for the rest of the world because it has some sort of statement that we made politically about some other country. And for some reason, we keep getting flagged in Argentina.
That is so, and you know, what I'm trying to think of is, who do I know that's there, you know, that could be so offended by our stuff? But, you know, so Bolsonaro, but he was Brazil, came here to visit. Real weird. 3-day vacation with our governor.
Didn't he meet the governor? Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, there was, you know, our governor was
trying. Head of state from like to come and meet a local governor somewhere in the Midwest and fuck off.
I just want to make sure everybody else knows how freaking weird that is. So I don't know, because, you know, he did his own version of January 6th in Brazil, and they ruined these really gorgeous government buildings because they're, you know, they put art into their buildings. We just build them anymore, but they still do the artistic. And it was really kind of sad to see, because their economy isn't big enough to repair that kind of stuff. I mean, so yeah, I've never known why he was here. But what I think I would say is, with all of the weird stuff that has happened with DeSantis and Trump, perhaps Bolsonaro was here to kind of explain what he did that was similar, that didn't land him in prison. You know, maybe how you do it. Look, our governor is a billionaire who acts like a really bad B-rated TV actor. And he looks like one of Hitler's right-hand guys with these big, gigantic eyebrows. I can't remember what the guy's name is. You look at, you know, Hitler's crew. He looks like one of them. It's really weird.
Don't ask me why I know this. Rudolph Hess. I think that's who you're thinking of.
Yeah, it's Hess. You're right. Well, I just couldn't come up with a name because I'm 60. And the guy literally looks like Hess. And the school superintendent guy looks like he could have been in the regular brown shirt army. You know, it's weird. So I don't know where, I just go back to that Bolsonaro thing. And for some reason, that equates to me. I don't know anybody in Argentina that I've made angry. I've only been to Peru in South America, I think. Yeah, cool place. They have mountains like Vietnam. It's amazingly beautiful, but the water's a little tricky. Just a little tricky.
Isn't that anywhere these days?
Right.
You're not used to
anywhere
it.
You live. It's even that way here now. I mean, it really is. We use lead pipes to pipe water into some homes, and, you know, long-term damage. And I watch people drink bottled water, especially Hispanics. For some reason, it's a style thing here to drink bottled water, or they just are doing it in their
here.
Really?
Yes, it has something to do with it's like a status symbol type thing.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I don't know why it happens.
So you have oil that's cooked, and then it has microparticles all through it that you can't get off the sides, but yet you stored your water in that. And then you purposely drank it rather than the stuff that is tested every 15 minutes that comes out of your sink. I mean, it is a bizarre choice. Now here, for people that don't understand how this works, okay, I'm in city government, so we learn about weird shit. So here we have a huge lake that our drinking water comes out of. You might have a river. My hometown has a river. The water was way more clean. It was delicious. Down here, sometimes it smells a little like sulfur. And what it is the lake turns twice a year. Whatever was on the bottom turns. And so you get, think of eating bottom fish. They're always a little stronger, but they're delicious. It's like that. And so for those 2 weeks, I could see doing it, but it's also an uneducated immigrant population who doesn't understand that all those oil particles are going into your body. What you really want is glass, because nothing really sticks to it if you've cleaned it properly. And we just, it's crazy. I go to Sam's Club, this big grocery store warehouse, when I'll see these guys going out with 5-6 cases of water and ton, like one after another. And you go, I know all these people don't own their own companies. This is to have in your home. And it is a status thing.
Yep.
Okay, let me tell you something even funnier. Okay. A lot of that's just tap water.
Yep.
I mean, they have no testing requirements. Yeah.
I've actually seen one of the bottling units in Dan. The other Dan took me to one, which was Amarillo. It was one of his clients. Right. And they were just filling water from what I thought was their house tap.
So, you got to hook a hose up to it that doesn't smell too bad. And once again, oil particles are in that. So it is, I had this guy years ago that I went to the same high school with him, and he wanted me to invest in a bottled water plant. Now, do you want to laugh at me? Guess what I did not do? I was like, why would anybody do that? It's free. I mean, it's like a penny a gallon to get out of the tap here.
One of my buddies here lost a lot of money on a bottling plant for water. And I was like, how do you fuck this up? Like, please tell me.
Well, if I had the opportunity, and talking to a friend of mine yesterday that owns about 200 or 300 rental houses. He's done very, very well. And we were talking about the city of Detroit in America. The city of Detroit has the best infrastructure of any city in America because the auto industry was there for 100 years and they just rolled in the money, especially during wartime. And they really did build their city properly. And I was like, if I was going to do one more project, I'd buy a couple of blocks of land there. But what I would really want to do is buy a defunct brewery that had a long-term 100-year contract with the city for free water. Because they would give it to you. I mean, it's the world's largest untouched freshwater source, or the Great Lakes. It's 1/3 of the world's water, and it's too cold for people to mess it up there. That's the actual deal. Us people can't survive there and in Alaska. So both places are pretty pristine. I know. Go ahead. You can laugh all you want because we deserve it. Yes. I know, it's very strange.
Yeah, but
all right. Yeah, go ahead.
I was thinking about what else was going on. I've just been so busy with dealing with a government office here, where one day I went, Sean, think about this, okay? I reached there after a 2-hour drive, sit in the office at 9 o'clock. They open at like 9:15. Waited till 4 in the evening till they told me the server was down and they couldn't finish it to come back tomorrow. That was on Monday. Yeah. Then on Tuesday, we went there and it literally took them 30 minutes to finish it because they'd already seen me one day earlier. And that's the regular time it takes just to see if they can fucking irritate me where I would pay more, do something. I'm pretty sure that was the scam that they were running.
But maybe I don't understand how this works. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm cheap enough where I was like, it's okay. I'm just going to sit here. I have my computer with me. I'm still working.
Wow. God, that's crazy. So I'm in the middle of changing over some liquor licensing stuff. And so I read the documents and I go, okay, I've got to get this. We go to the county, we have cities, counties, states, federal government. And I go down there and what I need is just to show that I don't owe any taxes. And so she pulls up the company and goes, no, they don't owe any taxes. And I go, no, this is about me personally. And she goes, it's the right thing. And I'm like, okay, let me show you right here on the contract. It says personal or business. That means both. It's the right thing. And I'm like, I'm not going to get into this fight with this lady. Okay, I guess let's plan on another day to come back down to this place. Yeah, I'm having the same week as you dealing with, hey, look, man, you go into our city, you pay everything at the desk and get out of there.
I know.
It's easy and simple.
Sean, in the village, I used to know Bruce. So I would just be like, can I just see Bruce, please?
Right.
I'm not dealing with
let me talk
anybody
to the
else.
real boss. Let me talk to the real boss. Isn't that the truth? God, and he was great. I mean, no complaints there. So I'm trying to think of what else we've got going on here. I hesitate to say that we are still in this arena fight, and I don't know how that goes in India. So we've got a couple of people from Oklahoma that own a basketball team, and they want us to build them a $950 million arena, and they only want to kick in 50 million of it, as if there's some benefit for us. But it makes their team worth billions more that we have gotten in this arena. And I hate to say this, I think it's probably going to go through anyway, because they're doing the vote in the middle of December when working people don't have time to mess with it. Like 2 weeks before our biggest holiday, which would be Christmas. And you know, if you're working 2 jobs, you don't have time to vote, or even 1 job, you don't have time to vote. But yeah,
it's a sneaky way to get a weird little basketball stadium done.
I know. And yeah, well, and you know, the same people were involved with the jail, literally selling the jail, the Chamber of Commerce. And yeah, so it's and then it is that kind of stuff is disheartening, but it's every city. You know, we're no different. And does it mean something to you to have your own team, you know, and are you willing to subsidize it? Because it goes on sales tax. So the poorest people are paying for it, for the richest people to profit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say we're a third world country, but if you do elections and hire politicians that only help the rich and shit like this goes through, we're pretty much there with third world countries.
I know. Ugh.
Yeah, it's crazy shit. And I don't have a solution to that. Hey, I'm just thrilled I got some of the bad coaches going out, you know, that I was able to help with that weird deal. You know, who would have thought that would work? So maybe, just maybe. And I don't know what the solution is, because you don't really want to lose the team. But you've been in plenty of negotiations with companies. And if somebody came in and only offered to put in 5% to get 100% of the benefit.
I know. Isn't that a very shitty deal?
It really, I mean, what they're basically telling you is I'm going to shove this down your throat and you're going to take it.
Can I tell you the weird analogy? Just when you started saying that, I was about to say, do they also want me to go stand in the corner and bend over?
Try it. I mean, that's what we're running into here is the tax system has been changed so much in favor of the wealthy. And these deals, there are other cities, I'll guarantee you, that are calling them, courting them, saying, hey, we'll build you this, we'll do that, offering them anything under the sun. They are in a power position because there's so few people with so much money that the rest of the folks just kind of have to put up with it. It's like high school, public high school. You know, you always get some asshole driving a $60,000 Corvette while, you know, you get people taking the bus. I mean, it's just the way it is. I don't know how to solve that one.
Speaking of assholes, I was there last night when they were doing some sort of an open mic thing. And there was this fat, fucking, ugly asshole who was sitting in the crowd. Like, Sean, this was like, the reason why I'm saying this, because he had like this really tiny wife or whatever. And the only reason that I hated him was there was one point where he finished his drink and he pointed at the bottle and she had to pour that to refill it, okay?
Get out.
Yeah, so the moment I saw that, all I could think, I just made up an entire backstory and just focused all my hate on that one table.
Wow, no shit.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God. And the weird part was that I did see them downstairs get out of like a giant SUV. I chucked my entire set out. I just made fun of people driving SUVs in the city. The rest of the crowd was just thinking that this was an angry set where they were just nodding. There was just one table who didn't make eye contact with me, and that was this table.
Good for you. Good for you. Hey, man, it is. Oh Lord. You remember the opening of Slumdog Millionaire where the guy's taking the 20-minute shower and the other kid drops into the big old pond of human waste?
Yeah.
There's your 20-minute shower guy. They're waiting for the water truck to come along. Yeah, I mean, it is in America, what I see right now is there are a lot of strikes going on, which has not happened for decades. And we're at a crux. And this weird shit, I'm telling you, that weird stuff yesterday, if there doesn't turn out to be a huge Friday news dump, lets me know that social media campaigns are working. If you can't get it onto the regular news, social media, if you get it big enough, the news has to pick it up. Because their reporters have to have 2 stories a day every day. And people go, why are you not covering that? And it makes them do it. That's the advantage of social media. Isn't that crazy? What else you want to talk about, homie? We got Pim's Cup. While you're thinking of it, I'm going to go turn my breath. We can go back to the comedy stuff. I don't mind revisiting that because I think there's always stuff to be had. You know what I mean?
The other day, I actually did mention to that comic. What's her name? Jesus Christ. What is up with my memory today, Sean? Are you rubbing off on me? 40?
How old are you now?
Yeah, I'm 36.
Shit, you're fine. You are literally almost half my age. Female comic, and you were talking to her. Is she Indian or American?
Yeah, she's Indian name. I totally skipped on her name. Mariyam. She was the Muslim comic I told you about here.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to be a Muslim female comic. It's hard.
Yeah,
it is.
In India, you can imagine. Like one of the friends of mine who runs social media, she was watching our episodes and she was like, you guys need to be careful about what you guys talk about. And I was like, Sean's in the US, he's fine. It's just my dumb ass that has to watch out. Because I don't think that we have anything called like freedom of press or whatever the hell.
First Amendment, yeah.
There is no First Amendment right here.
There is, we always try to go, hey, is it, or at least I do. I don't want to get you in trouble and I don't want you to disappear one day because then I have to do a podcast and boost it over there with your blank screen. The challenge here is not freedom of speech. So freedom of speech doesn't mean you get to say anything. So, and everyone uses
laws, right?
Right. Everyone always uses this deal, and they say you can't be in a movie theater, and yell fire if there's not a fire. And I'm not really sure how that correlates to anything else. But if I say something disparaging about you personally, you have to go prove that it costs you money because I said that, and then you can sue me for that. Yeah, I mean, look, it's America. You can sue anybody for anything. But frivolous lawsuits a lot of times will come back on you and they make you pay the other person's legal fees. So I probably took a chance doing a lot of these cases that I do about these abuses of those people suing me because they could sue me, but I would hire a lawyer and sue them back, and they don't want that negative publicity. But if they're in that defiant mode, they may want to do it. But look, as a Muslim comedian in a country that's separated from another country, to have Muslims there and other people here, she's probably quite right. You're an anomaly. Most people would probably not want to arrest you because you're well-spoken and know how to use media.
The media part, yes. The well-spoken might get me arrested because my local languages show up in an accent.
Oh, wow. Yeah, maybe. It's just fascinating. And, when Americans travel abroad, they have no idea that they have to follow the laws of wherever they are. And now we have that within our own country with marijuana. It's legal in half the states. You can still get 5 years for driving into Alabama with some marijuana. And hell, people aren't smart. I was just going to Disney World, man. I got a prescription card. Yeah.
Isn't there that joke about how they legalized marijuana and they left all the black people who were arrested for marijuana in jail?
Yeah, there's something to that. So they tried to go back and it's called retroactive, and they here in Oklahoma we did release a bunch of people, and then of course the worst thing happened. One of the people murdered somebody and then literally was boiling their organs and ate them, and that, yeah, obviously nobody wanted to let that guy out, but they did, yeah. And that's what happened. And that's why nobody ever lets anybody out of jail, because that's what happened.
I know.
It's
one
lunatic.
bad apple.
It really does. And so I had a judge say that to me. We got a friend of mine, and her son tried to commit suicide by cops. And it's when you basically pull out a gun and the police shoot you and kill you.
Oh, yeah.
And she can't get him out of the county jail, or can't get him a mental evaluation, all this other stuff, because they're like, hey man, we can't go light on somebody who did this with a police officer. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
By the way, before we wrap up, the other day someone was asking me about the alcohol laws for bartenders there, and I was trying to explain to them about why in the movies people see them take away the keys of like drunk people, because they also are liable in case this idiot goes and crashes into somebody. Yeah.
We have specific insurance called liquor liability insurance, which is if we overpour, meaning we give you too much alcohol for your guesstimate size, your guesstimate weight, and all this other stuff. And that's for real. And you can be criminally charged on something like that. So nowadays, the problem is people come in after they've eaten edible gummies, smoked weed, eaten something that has some drug in it, Oxycontin, oxycodone. I mean, all these different things. I'm not sure we are so liable anymore, because there's usually a mix. But yeah, you can't overserve. Our beers here at my place are 20-ounce pints, the imperial pints. And people don't understand that's half of another beer. So when you have one of those, you've had one and a half. So if you have two of them, you are legally intoxicated.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy? And, we're just used to rolling along. With Uber, there's no reason to go out and drive.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's just no reason. And so I think that's taken some of the heat off of us. Here's what we're responsible for. In Oklahoma, they're very serious about serving underagers, which is funny because I can go buy weed anywhere. But they're very, very serious about it. But they also sent in a guy my age, old white dude with white hair. And we card him anyway, because my wife and I are in politics. We have to card everybody. We just can't let shit slide.
Was this like that anonymous guy who was coming to do a check type shit? Yeah, I think I was around during that time.
Yeah, and I got a fucking single mom waiting on him, and goes over and checks his ID. His ID was expired, but he was obviously over 21 years old and could legally drink. We are not responsible for your documents. We're responsible for making sure you're old enough to drink. And that's the only one I got kind of upset about, where you go, they're just trying to scam everybody for money.
Yeah, this is like trying to back you into a corner and make sure that you have no option but to finding a fucking excuse. Yeah.
So the legal term in America is called entrapment. You're allowed to catch me in a crime, but you're not allowed to create a crime, involve me in it, and then charge me in it, because they created a crime. They sent a guy in with an expired deal. That was their creation. But they want to get a $1,500 fine out of the person, and then me as well. That's what that is what that bullshit is all about. It's about money. It's not about power and showing you that your license is in their control.
Yep.
So it is unfortunate, but that is where we are at this point. Hold on a moment. Now there's my other loaf of bread. Can you see it?
See
how it's pushing down? Right. It's not done yet. So if it pushes back, it's done. But if it pushes down, it's not. It isn't even worth temping. But the other one is done right here. And see, it pushes right back to me. There you go. It's your lesson for the day. All right.
You're going to take with Sean Cummings.
Yeah, exactly. People go, why do you make your own bread? And I said, because it's really good.
Hell yeah, I can vouch for that, people.
Right. And I eat it for breakfast almost every day. All right, my man, take us out.
And ask Sean, I complain a lot, so he is used to me complaining if something was wrong.
It is an obligatory British thing.
And that is the Villagers podcast and my last complaint with Sean for the day.
There you go. It's good to see you, my friend. All right, have a good day.